My dad works in B2B marketing, but I never really knew what that meant. Then one day my dad came by my school for career day and told everyone in my class he was a big MQL man. Then he just kept saying things like, the more MQLs, the better, over and over. My friends still laugh at me to this day. I think it means marketing qualified lead. One thing's for sure, I'll be known as the MQL man's kid for the rest of my days. Why couldn't you just be a fireman or a lawyer? Why? You ruined my life, Dad.
Not everyone gets B2B, but LinkedIn has the people who do. And with ads on LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people based on job title, industry, likelihood to buy, and more. Start converting your B2B audience into high-quality leads today. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/customer to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/customer. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
This is Tanya Rad from Scrubbing In with Becca Tilley and Tanya Rad. This is what you do when you've just found that statement handbag on eBay and you want to build an entire wardrobe around it. You start selling to keep buying. Yep, on eBay. Over that all black everything phase, list it and buy all the color. Feeling more vintage than ever? It's out with the new and in with the pre-loved. Next thing you know, you've refreshed your wardrobe basically without spending a dime. Yeah, eBay. The place to buy and sell new, pre-loved, vintage, and rare fashion. eBay. Things people love.
Hey, it's Austin James. Yes, I'm living with diabetes, but it doesn't have to define me. Thanks to the Freestyle Libre 3 Plus sensor, I get real-time glucose readings throughout the day. The Freestyle Libre 3 Plus sensor is small and easy to wear, giving me the freedom to focus on my life as a parent and a musician. Now this is progress. You can get a free sensor at freestylelibre.us.
Offer available for people who qualify. Visit myfreestyle.us to see all terms and conditions. Certain exclusions apply. Data on file. Abbott Diabetes Care. For prescription only. Safety info found at freestylelibre.us.
When you choose to earn your degree online from Southern New Hampshire University, you're saying yes to new opportunities and to new adventures. You're saying yes to something big, something you've always wanted to do. If earning your degree is one of your goals this new year, SNHU can help you get there. With low online tuition, no set class times, and multiple term starts per year, you can set the pace that works for you and save money along the way. Visit snhu.edu today to get started.
Where'd you get those shoes? Easy. They're from DSW. Because DSW has the exact right shoes for whatever you're into right now. You know, like the sneakers that make office hours feel like happy hour. The boots that turn grocery aisles into runways. And all the styles that show off the many sides of you, from daydreamer to multitasker and everything in between. Because you do it all in really great shoes. Find a shoe for every you at your DSW store or dsw.com.
Hi everyone, I'm Rachel Zoe and you're listening to Climbing in Heels. Today I'm speaking with English model, actress, and all around one of the coolest girls I know, Poppy Delevingne. In this episode we talk about Poppy's childhood, what it was like being the middle child, her admiration for adventure and travel, and how she figured out what she wanted to do in this crazy life. She has found incredible success in modeling and now acting, and has launched a brand of Prosecco called Della Vite with her two sisters. I cannot wait for you to hear this interview. I have always loved her so much. I love her even more now, and also found out something I really never knew. So I continue to learn on these episodes as well. And so I wanted to talk to you because, you know, again, totally biased. I love the frick out of you. And, you know, we met what feels like 100 years ago, probably, I don't know.
100 years.
100. I would say at least 15 because it was before I had kids. So,
Yeah.
but you're very special and you're very special to me. And I think people look at you as this like, oh, she's so beautiful. She's so this, she's so that. She's like an it girl. She's a Brit girl. She's a this girl. She's a fashion girl. And you know, it's funny. Yes, you're all those things, but you're just so much more than that. And that's why we love you. You have the biggest heart. I think your heart makes up most of your body and your legs, duh. But, but
Legs.
you know, but I think for me, I want people to know the story of Poppy. And I want people to like, you know, how did you just because we all know you didn't just come out of thin air. So I think it's sort of like, I want to know who you were as a little girl. And also, like, were you always this like shining light? Were you always the fun girl in the room? Were you always, or were you shy and were you insecure? Like, I want to know. So tell me that, and tell me, like, born where? Born in London?
I'm all here for it, Rach, and I love you very much. I honestly hold such a special place for you in my heart and those beautiful boys of yours. And just so honored to do this, and congratulations on such an amazing podcast. I'm always here to celebrate women, morning, day, and night. So very, very excited to be.
And you have two amazing sisters, so that's
and I
also.
have two amazing sisters. I am the filling in the Delevingne sandwich, which I like to do. Bit in the middle. But yes, born and raised in London, grew up kind of just not outside of London, but in a more kind of, I would say, a greener area of London, where we sort of grew up kind of running around naked, barefoot, dungarees, covered in mud, climbing trees, riding bikes.
The dream.
Like, we had a very kind of outdoorsy upbringing. My two sisters and we also have an older brother who lives in America, Alex, who's phenomenal. And
oh my goodness, there's 4 of you.
Yeah, there's 4 of us.
I never met your brother. Now this is going to be my quest.
There's an older brother that leads the tribe. He lives in LA, and I can't believe I haven't introduced you to him.
Oh my God. Okay, now I have to meet. He's probably drop dead gorgeous, just saying, totally unbiased.
Yeah, he's wonderful. And I think as a little girl, I think I was pretty outgoing most of in fact, all of my childhood. I would be fibbing if I said that I was a sort of shy, retiring wallflower. I sort of came out kicking and screaming and shouting from the top of my lungs, a really peculiar looking child. I think my parents were quite shocked and were trying to figure out ways that they could give me back probably sort of freckles and deep eye bags and like white blonde wiry hair. And I think because of that, I had to really make up for it in personality because my other siblings came out kind of beautifully angelic and I came out looking like Fraggle Rock. So I think a lot of my childhood
I don't believe any of this. Right?
Honestly, I will after this, I'm going to send you pictures and you're going to go, they might break your phone.
Stop it.
But honestly, and I think I made up for that in personality. So I was always very sort of outgoing, loved people, loved entertaining, loved socializing, loved humans. Yeah. Like I was that sort of person,
like shiny.
And always trying to get into people's pockets and always trying to climb on top of people and touch their faces and, always overly affectionate.
That was me. But it's interesting because I do think, I'm a huge believer in birth order. I really am. I am. Same way I am with like zodiac signs and things like that. And
my Virgo queen.
Yeah. I mean, and there are so many of us. It's wild. And I think for you, I mean, being the middle, well, there's 2 middles, right? I mean,
Yes, but my brother, we didn't meet until later on in life.
Got it. Understood.
And we didn't meet him until later in life. I mean, that was like the world's best surprise in the entire world.
I mean, can you imagine?
Being 8 years old and finding out you have a brother. It was, who was older and so cool and so handsome.
Oh my God.
I was like, oh my God, this is all I ever wanted. Big brother. But yeah, I mean, I am middle child.
So you are a middle child. And I think with the same sex, I think there is a middle, right?
Yeah.
And what's interesting, and I don't know if you know this, but a fun fact that, many prominent figures in the world in Hollywood and otherwise are middle.
I didn't actually know that. Mm-hmm. Really?
Yes. And a lot of fashion people are Virgos. Shocker.
Yeah. I mean, my siblings and my parents would say that I am very middle child. I mean, because my brother was brought up in the States, he wasn't brought up with us. Mm-hmm. So it was very much us 3 girls growing up. Yep. And I think I very much represent all those middle children out there, even all the kind of the highs and the lows.
Yeah. I think though, to that point though, it makes so much sense to me because what I found is that I think when we were younger, it's like, oh, middle child syndrome. It was always this like negative. And actually, as an adult, I have actually found that the middle children are very often the most shiny and the most special, the most unique, because they're not the oldest and they're not the baby, and they find they have to swim a little harder, right, to find their
Sure.
spot, right?
We have to fight for the attention.
It's
We have to
wild.
find our niches. We have to find what makes us click quite early on and find our places, I feel like, in the world quite quickly, more so than others. I mean, my siblings would beg to differ. They'll be like, oh my God.
Of course.
But no, I believe that. I do know other middle children where we've like decided to start middle children clubs. Where we're like, let's all go for lunch and discuss our sub siblings and discuss life and discuss how we're going to take over the world.
Right.
And you know how we always get,
Yeah.
everyone always really poos on us, and they're always like, oh, you're a middle child, you're this and you're that, and we're like, no, we're not.
I don't buy it anymore. I think it's like an old thing, and I think it has to be like turn the frown upside down now. Like I actually think the middle children are the ones that really shine the most. I see it all the time, and I think it's really a beautiful thing, actually. And I think it's what you make of it. I think you can't fall into the cliche, right? But so growing up in this so you grew up in this very, I would argue to say, correct me if I'm wrong, a really beautiful family. When I say beautiful, I don't mean just what you look like. I just mean like a really good family and like a very well-loved family in England. Yes?
Exactly that.
And I know that you're very close with your father. I know you're very close with your parents. Yes.
I'm actually close to all my family members, but my daddy takes up, I reckon.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying this and I'm like, how much? Because I feel like I'm just talking to my great friend Rach. And if anyone
you are.
takes up most of my heart. I'm gonna get thanks. But it's true. I'm a daddy's girl. What can I say?
We are, and I think that's what happens. And I think I'd be curious to know. And again, something that I really believe in is that our education does not define us in any way. But were you a student or were you not a student?
So, I mean, listen, I went to boarding school in England and I left at 18 and I went out into the big wide world. I did not do college or anything like that. At 16, I was berating my parents. I was like, you have to let me leave. You have to let me finish. I am so ready for what the world has got to offer. And I don't think I'm going to gain anything from being a student anymore. So at 18, I was like, see ya.
And did you start boarding school? Because this is something I'm learning recently. Did you go to boarding school from like age, whatever, 7 or 6? Like you start young?
No, I didn't. I actually went to a school in Switzerland first before I went to boarding school at 13. So like 12, I went to school for a year in Switzerland and went to boarding school at 13.
Got it.
So that was that's a big thing in the UK. Like but it happens namely in boys, I think.
Yeah.
I think it happens less so now, but it does still happen. It's a very British thing.
It is. And I'm learning that more and more over the years. And, for us in the States, it's sort of like, wait, shipping our kids off? Wait, what? Not till college. But it's a thing. And most of the people I know that grew up in UK went to boarding school. But and they do it here. I think it's just a bit later. But okay, so you weren't a student. You were ready to work. You were very ambitious. You were like, how I felt was like kind of sick of conforming to what I'm supposed to do and learn, and why am I learning about these shapes when I want to learn about bigger things in the world? It made no sense to me.
Yeah, I was just always really fascinated by the world and adventure and this idea of, what's outside of the UK and where can I travel to? And I think the second I left, I went traveling. First and foremost, and went off to South America and India and all of these different places with a group of boys. Hilariously, there was 4 boys with me.
That's my girl.
Which was just extraordinary. I don't know how I did that for like 6 months. But I did, and I learned a lot about myself. I learned about sort of resilience and Chelsea Football Club and sex. And, I got I was like, I'm a man. This is all I can talk about. But I was sort of, but I managed to see parts of the world that I had never even imagined to see. And it was just so exhilarating and exciting and sort of, putting myself into all of these different cultures and worlds and meeting new people. And it was stunning. Oh
And
my
your
God.
parents were like, they were very supportive of this, or were they
They were
like,
very
good?
supportive, but like, this was like pre-mobiles,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
So I just literally, they dropped me off at the airport and off I went with like a sleeping bag in my backpack
That's so wild.
and would go off. And then every couple of weeks I would send an email being like,
I'm
I'm
good.
now in, Rio de Janeiro, or I'm in Hampi in India, or and I would just give them updates. Like that was it. So it was kind of, it's not like,
And you were 18 at this point, right?
yeah,
So your friends, I imagine most of your friends were at university, right? A lot of
yes,
them.
a lot of them have gone to university. Yeah.
And so at that point, so you're traveling around the world, you're finding yourself, I imagine, and growing and learning, and everything we do is another step towards like, who the hell am I? Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I imagine that's probably a lot of what you were doing and trying to figure out, okay, like when I grow up, and technically I'm grown up now, right? Like,
Yeah.
what do I want to do? Right. Like,
What do I want to
so
do?
what
Exactly.
happens there? Like what, like,
Well, so at that point, so when I was 17, I went to go watch Cara in her sports day in London.
mhm,
And I was maybe 16 actually. And Sarah Dukas from Store Models,
mhm,
her daughter was in the same class as Cara.
mhm,
And she was there and she came up to my mom and she was like, would Poppy be interested in potentially modeling?
mhm.
And my mom spoke to me about it and I thought it was the funniest thing ever, because still at this point I was like
I'm
all
awkward and tall and skinny.
awkward and again like big eye bags and freckles and just like totally just not in control of myself. I was like, oh, wow, that's so weird. Why the hell would I do that? And so I was like, no, I'm good. And then at 18, just before I went off on this like sort of this trip that I went on, I went to go see Sarah Dukas one more time and she took some Polaroids and she was like, go off and do what you need to do. And when you come back, let's talk again. So in the back of my mind, I had this sort of thing that I could potentially try modeling.
Mhm.
So when I got back, that was exactly what I did. And we kind of started from there. And let me tell you, it was a slow burner. It was not, overnight success moment.
You mean you weren't Gigi Hadid?
I was not Gigi Hadid. I was not Bella Hadid. I was no anything. I was literally like, I did every type of modeling you could possibly imagine. In fact, I was quite a famous foot model. I'll have you know. My feet, look at these.
I feel like you have beautiful feet. I feel like
Yeah.
they're probably like a
That's
perfect size
pretty
7
good.
or something.
When they say it's not for me, it's my feet. And I did a lot of foot modeling, but I was literally, my best friend was my A to Z. And an A to Z is like one of those roadmap things that you have in a book.
Right.
And we'd go on every casting, audition, go see. I'd have my heels in my bag, my trainers on. I'd be on the tube. I'd be trudging around London like there was no tomorrow, in the wind and the rain and the snow. And
there's no bigger kick in the ass, by the way, than doing
Oh,
that.
you really learn, it's a discipline, and you learn about perseverance, and you learn how to get up in the morning and go and do all of those things and then come back and you haven't got anything. And I'm talking like a good year and a half of that,
Yep.
where I literally didn't get
Yep.
anything.
Well,
And
I want to touch on that for a second because, clearly, I think most of the young women in the world look at beautiful people and say, oh, they're genetically blessed. That's why they're a model. Well, there's so much complexity to that. And even today, I think even more complexity to that. But I think in the day when you were starting, there was not a lot of grace and there was not a lot of kindness and there was not a lot of, being politically correct or worrying about how somebody's feelings were. And I started, long before you on the other side and as a stylist. And I remember a model looking at me and crying and saying, "You're the first person that's ever been nice to me," because she was standing there for hours, and I said, I need to give her like a banana. She's going to fall over. And I would walk over to her with like trail mix and water. And I would be like, and the photographer was like, "She's fine. That's what she's paid for." I'm like, Jesus Christ. And you know me,
Yeah,
I'm
not animals.
No,
You're not animals.
It's wild. And so I do want to touch on that, because what I think that really probably prepped you for was the world of acting, because there is modeling, there's rejection. I think with anything, I think with acting, with modeling, with singing, the amount of rejection, and modeling, I think, is particularly disheartening because it's based on what you look like at the time. Now I think a bit more, right? Now I think
it's unfathomable, actually, and what was even harder back then, Rach, was that, you know, this was pre kind of like digital, and people sending out, having online profiles where they could be like, okay, this is still models and this is our model Poppy Delevingne. Like, you had to go with your portfolio, with your book, and go around, and they would reject you in front of your face.
Right in front of your face.
It's going to be a no. And I'd walk out like, I know, I know. Or like, oh, I need it. Oh, actually, you know, and so you're being told that 6 to 10 times a day, every day, over and over again, like in front, like, and it's right there in front of you. And you're not being based on how your performance is or how good your voice is. You're being based on what you look like, what you came out of the room looking like.
It's so
and
wild.
That can take its toll.
And before retouching, by the way, before retouching, before filters, before any of that.
All of that. And then also to get all of the pages in your portfolio, you'd have to like go to these very gritty parts of London and do photo shoots with pretty questionable human beings where you would be like, I don't want to wear a thong and a heel.
And I don't trust you, and I don't want to be alone in
this
room.
I don't trust you. How do I know? Like, and you would, you know, it was a very intense time in my life, and a very kind of, damaging. And very after that year of it, I was like, what am I doing? This, I don't feel happy. No. This does not make me feel good about myself. This is not nurturing for my soul. And I would see sort of other friends who were doing it too. And thank God we were all such a great support network. And Storm were actually an amazing agency, and they were really brilliant. And I remember like Alexa, that's how I met Alexa Chung.
Yeah.
She was the same thing as me. And we would see each other on the tube and wave to each other on the platform. And, you know, there was like a little tribe that was like sort of building. And, you know, we had to pay our dues. And, you know, a year and a half in or so, stuff started to happen.
My dad works in B2B marketing, but I never really knew what that meant. Then one day my dad came by my school for career day and told everyone in my class he was a big MQL man. Then he just kept saying things like, the more MQLs, the better, over and over. My friends still laugh at me to this day. I think it means marketing qualified lead. One thing's for sure. I'll be known as the MQL man's kid for the rest of my days. Why couldn't you just be a fireman or a lawyer? Why? You ruined my life, Dad.
Not everyone gets B2B, but LinkedIn has the people who do. And with ads on LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people based on job title, industry, likelihood to buy, and more. Start converting your B2B audience into high-quality leads today. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/customer to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/customer. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
Congratulations to Easter Seals, Southern California, on their first-place win for innovation in customer service at this year's Unconventional Awards by T-Mobile for Business. Easter Seals has used T-Mobile 5G to create immersive VR development tools that aid people with autism in addressing transportation barriers. These tools are shaping the way safe and personalized skill building is delivered, and for that, T-Mobile congratulates Easter Seals, Southern California, for their unconventional thinking.
Hey, it's Alicia. When people tell me, wow, you have such beautiful skin, for a second, I say, who are you talking to? Because I never did. Keys Soul Care is a holistic beauty and skincare line I created, working with a leading dermatologist. I'm so proud of these product offerings because they're all about caring for the whole self, inside and out. Nourish your skin, their chia soul.
Try clinically proven skincare from Alicia Keys with 25% off your first purchase at keyssoulcare.com using code GLOWONAIR.
Are lingering depression symptoms affecting you? If you're on an antidepressant and still struggling with lingering depression symptoms, ask your doctor about a lift in relief with Vraylar, cariprazine. Vraylar is a prescription medicine approved for use with antidepressant medicines to treat major depressive disorder, MDD, in adults. Adding Vraylar to an antidepressant is clinically proven to help relieve overall depression symptoms better than an antidepressant alone. Results may vary. Vraylar is not approved in elderly patients with dementia-related psychosis or for people under 18. Elderly dementia patients have increased risk of death or stroke. Report unusual changes in behavior or suicidal thoughts. Antidepressants can increase these in children and young adults. Report fever, stiff muscles, or confusion, as these may be life-threatening, or uncontrolled muscle movements, which may be permanent. High blood sugar, which can lead to coma or death, weight gain, and high cholesterol may occur. Difficulty moving, tremors, slow or uncontrolled body movements, restlessness, feeling like you need to move around, nausea, constipation, insomnia, dizziness, increased appetite, and fatigue are common side effects. Side effects may not appear for several weeks. For a lift in relief, ask about adding Vraylar, Vraylar. Visit Vraylar.com or call 1-877-6-VRAYLAR to learn more.
Have you made the switch to Knix? Millions of women have made the switch to the revolutionary period underwear from Knix. That's Knix. Period panties from Knix are like no other, making them the #1 leak-proof underwear brand in North America. They're comfy, stylish, and absorbent, perfect for period protection from your lightest to your heaviest days. They look, feel, and machine wash just like regular underwear, but feature incognito protection that has you covered. You can shop sizes from extra small to 4XL. Choose from all kinds of colors, prints, and different styles, from bikinis to boy shorts, thongs to high-rise. You've got to try Knix. See why millions are ditching disposable, wasteful period products and have switched to Knix. Go to knix.com and get 15% off with promo code TRY15. That's Knix.com, promo code TRY15 for 15% off life-changing period underwear. That's knix.com.
I mean, and I think, listen, it's one of those things where, there's a huge argument to that now, because I don't think people should ever be treated that way or ever put in those positions. But I bet you would, on the other side of that, probably argue and say, but it also kind of prepped me for the world, because you are met with challenge and adversity, and things don't really always work out the way you dream that they will. So I think there's this weird, because I got my ass kicked when I started work, and I talk about it in this way of like, I was told I was way too nice to ever survive in fashion. I was told I was, accused of stealing when my boss was stealing. It was in her drawer and in her, you know what I mean? So there was so many things, but then I go, you know what though? It gave me my work ethic. It gave me my grit. It gave me my skin. It gave me the ability to almost function and come out of the womb, right?
Absolutely. It taught me so many things, exactly like you, Rach. I feel like even though at the time it was tough and painful, but at the same time, I'm also really and honestly, truly grateful for it.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I would have gone on to do some of the things that I ended up doing without that kind of, at this point, nothing would faze me.
Right.
Right. I don't care. You don't think I'm pretty? I don't care. It's totally irrelevant to what I want to do and where I want to be placed in this world. And so
at what point do you go, okay, I'm doing this now. It's going well, right? I've met some great people. I'm having fun. I'm living probably a pretty fun life, right? At that point, it's probably around when I met you, at the Burberry show and
exactly.
Right.
It was at that time. Yeah. And I was doing a little bit of runway. I was doing, sort of campaigns for Anya Haimarsh or Alberta Ferretti. I was starting to work with Chanel.
Yep.
And I'd met Carl, and so I had sort of developed a close bond with him. And then you're on a whole different stratosphere, and then it was just, God, a lot of fun. so much
So much
travel and adventures and meeting just brilliant, bold, beautiful people that just who still to this day I'm so close to, like you, and just sort of forming these really, important relationships and wearing insane clothes and, running around Paris. Oh my God, it was such a dream that sometimes I can't really believe that it all happened.
Yeah. And that's when I met you. And I think the thing is, you're always one of the most fun people to ever be around. Your energy is so contagious. And like, even if a party sucks or a dinner sucks, if Poppy comes, like, it's like, we know we're going to have fun, right? Like, I just know I'm going to be happy if I'm with you and we're going to have a great time, right? And I think we have like a group of us, right? Like, we have a group of us. It's like our safe people in our group that we roll in and whatever. But at some point you go, okay, so I'm doing this, I'm living the dream, I'm having the best time, probably sometimes a little too much fun, but
yeah, a few terrible hangovers up in there.
Yeah, well, just a few, just a few, but worth it. I'm going to say it was worth it.
It was so worth it.
Say it was worth it. At some point you say, okay, I'm going to take a go at acting, right?
Yes.
And then what?
Oh my God. Because, my dad always laughed at me when he was like, oh my God, he's like, now that you're in this world that you've taken so many years to build yourself into, and you're part of it now. And at this point, I was sort of working with the British Fashion Council and helping them sort of discover and sort of nurture young talent. And I'm doing all of this stuff, and it's exactly where I want to be. But I go, oh, you know what? It's not good enough. I want to start right back at the beginning again and do something where I'm totally out of my comfort zone and put myself right back to the beginning. And I want to be an actor. My dad's like, oh my God, why can't you just be happy with what you're doing? And I'm like, no, it's not enough. I've got to keep moving, got to keep going. So yeah, I suddenly turned around to my agents and I said, I'm off to New York and I want to go to a drama school out there. And I want to because I'd done a lot of acting at school. And I was like, but this is what I want to do. Like, I'm not feeling like I didn't feel like I really belonged enough in what I was doing. And so off I went and I started that whole new chapter of my life.
Was that terrifying? Was that scary?
It was absolutely petrifying because in a way, in my mind, I think what I thought, and I don't think I've really said this before, but in my mind, I thought, well, acting and modeling must kind of go hand in hand. And surely there's a way that we can, this can all work together. But in all honesty, it doesn't. And so when I started acting and, trying to find an agent who'd represent me and, I'd start going to sort of auditions or whatever, and, no casting director was interested in seeing me because in their minds, they were like, well, that's
she's a model.
Yeah. And what? She just wants to see if she can try her hand at acting. No, we're not interested.
Sure.
So trying to get my foot in the door. So the kind of modeling career and my kind of career in fashion, so to speak, I thought would open doors and it didn't. So I had to train and I ended up which I wanted to do anyway, which I was doing a lot of on the side. But I got an amazing acting coach. I went to a place in London called Riverside Studios where I did a year of training. And then I was like, okay, these people, I really need these people to take me seriously because this is actually really what I want to do. And again, it was another couple of years and a bit like the foot modeling. Not that I love the foot modeling aspect of my life, by the way. I'm not shitting on that. But a few kind of foot modeling jobs in the acting realm, which I hope will never see the light of day, but they probably will somehow. And a few of those before stuff started to happen. But I had to, really juggle sort of the honing my craft, learning to act, do all that stuff with kind of still trying to make money and stay in the fashion industry and do all of that stuff to do what I really wanted to do. And I'm really glad that my sort of perseverance paid off, but it was, it wasn't plain sailing. But that also goes without saying, I was obviously very aware. I obviously did have opportunities that a lot of other actors wouldn't have had by even having a modeling agent or even by having having a backup job that could get me through
Sure.
the learning process. Like, I appreciate that it is not easy for anybody. But what I was just trying to explain is that, you always think these two industries go hand in hand and they offer
People
up something.
do. People do.
And
I think people do think that. I think
yeah,
people do think that because there is a lot of actor turn model. But listen, there's also actor turn producer, producer turned
yeah,
actor. Like there are
yeah,
logical steps. It's like stylists becoming designers or
of
makeup
course.
artists having, becoming entrepreneurs. And, I think
Yeah.
I think it is, but I also think sometimes it makes it harder. I
I
think
think it makes
sometimes
it
they make it
harder.
harder.
And I think this sort of, as you said, like stylist turned designer,
Mm-hmm.
like makeup artist turned
Mm-hmm.
is really, I mean, this it's evolved so
Yes.
much.
Yes.
Again, like, however many years ago this was, like 20 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
there wasn't so much of that.
Yeah.
Everyone was very much stay in your lane,
Yeah.
model,
Yeah.
and that's what you do. Like now it's like model, influencer, DJ, cookbook. You can literally, the world
It's
is
so true.
now your oyster, right? You can, like, everyone can do everybody else's
It's
job
true.
if they want to do it.
It's
But
true.
like 20 years
It's
ago,
true.
it wasn't really, it was kind of like, no, that's what you do and you're going to stick to that.
It's
But
true.
luckily the world has evolved and now everyone is free and open to do whatever they want. And it's kind of, I'm not saying it's easier, but it's definitely more kind of, I don't know, not acceptable. What's the word? It's sort
Yeah,
of,
no, it is. I think it's more acceptable. I think it's uh
people are open to it.
yeah,
People are like, oh
yeah.
my gosh, why can't that person be whatever they want to be? Like,
Change
but back then,
lanes.
change the lane.
Anytime.
Everyone was like, oh no, you stick to what you do and you stick in the zone.
And I also want to point out too, because something I really stand behind, because a lot of this whole trend in, nepotism, nepo babies, nepo this, nepo that. And I
Yeah.
want to point out still the rejection and the grit that you did survive and go
Yeah.
through and deal with and take the emotional, I'm going to say emotional beating on your soul to, because I mean, I did, we all did. It's like, but I
Yeah.
like to point that out because I think I actually am a believer that yes, it can be much easier because of people yes. But I
Yeah.
also think it very often works quite the opposite, that people don't want to give you the chance because they're like it's too easy for them. So
Yeah.
you did go to acting school, you did go study. You couldn't just walk in as this beautiful girl and say, "Hey, I want to try this," and "Hey, look at me, like I can do this."
No,
Okay.
I feel like I did for a minute.
So now on top of your game, I think, obviously always looks stunning. I don't need to touch on that because that's given. But like you have the light, you shine the light. The light is shining very bright right now for you. I see it in person and even over, a computer. So what happens now? What's next for Pops? What's exciting you? What's feeding you right now? It's feeding your soul right now.
I am so really at the moment that I mean, I'm starting a new film in a couple of weeks' time, which is
Amazing.
super exciting.
Amazing.
Don't know
Where
if
is
you
that
know.
shooting?
Well, actually in Belgium and Luxembourg, so in Europe. So it's a little independent film that I'm shooting over here in Europe. So that would be great. I've never been to either of those places. So, and
Wow.
me, little bunny, the fact that I can go and live somewhere else for a couple of months
Yeah.
is just so exciting.
Yeah.
And discover new cultures
Yeah.
and new people. So that's super exciting. But the main thing that I'm also sort of really focusing on at the moment is mine and my sister's Prosecco brand, Della Vite.
I'm a fan. I'm already a fan. Okay, so tell me about that because I'm obsessed with it already.
Yeah, well,
It's
we
delicious.
launched it during COVID,
Yes, I
which was
remember.
really not an ideal time to be launching a brand. But we did because we had all the bottles in place and we'd already been planning it for, years on end. So we had to launch and we did, and it's going wonderfully well. We have 3 different Proseccos under the Della Vite umbrella. It's vegan, it's sustainably created in a beautiful vineyard in Venice, actually. How far?
Wow.
So it's called Bianene.
Okay.
That's the name of the place, which is technically they see it as Prosecco region in Italy. And it's where all the best Proseccos in the world are Italian, of course.
Of course.
It's what the
Of course.
Italians do best. They know their Proseccos. And it was me and my sisters, and we decided to sort of start, because whenever we were kind of teenagers and in our 20s and whatever, there always seemed to be like a bottle of Prosecco on the table. And we were always like, let's bring our own Prosecco to the world, but we'll go steal it from Italy because they know what they're doing.
Yes.
And
I also love that it's Prosecco. Like, I love that you're staying in that, you know?
Yeah, of course. But also we were always, we always felt like we were sort of Italian in another life. And a lot of our sort of family trips would always be in Italy. And we've always kind of celebrated the Italian food and culture and their vibrancy and how sexy they all are. And so we were like, let's do our own Prosecco. And it's honestly a dream come true. And I'm hoping to kind of expand the business into maybe homeware and see where that takes us further on down the line. So we'll see about that.
And where is it selling primarily? Is it mostly in UK? Is it in the US?
So we're in the UK, and then in the US, we're in Miami, New York, and LA.
Amazing. You guys, it is so good. Even if you don't like Prosecco, you have to try it. It is actually, it's excellent. In fact, now that I'm thinking of it, we have to have it
I can send you
events.
There's a pale pink one, the Prosecco rosé, and it is so delicious. And what I love to do is literally get a fish bowl, fill it with ice, bottle of Della Vite or 2, and that's lunch. Okay? Honestly, and then you're good to go. Your day will fly by, and you'll literally be like crawling around on the ceiling by the end of it. But it's great.
You are my favorite person. Honestly, I swear you
are. And I'm going to send you bottles of it with fish bowls, with bags of ice.
And I have to have it at our events too. I have to start making it. I have to start screaming it at the top of the canyons here. Top of the mountains, not the canyons, but the top of the mountain. You know what I mean? On that note, in my bowl of Prosecco with ice, in my double bowl of Prosecco with ice, I love you so much. I'm so excited for this chapter. I'm so excited to watch you win, continue to win. And you know, I just love the shit out of you, and I just root for you always. And a fun fact that I would like to share, given that you are convinced you looked like Pippi Longstocking as a kid, you looked like you were awkward as a child. There is one of my favorite team members, absolutely beautiful. She's been with me, I think, almost 9 years. And when she started, and I said I was going out to meet you at an event or something at dinner. And she said to me, you know Poppy Delevingne? I said, yes. And she said, she's like I want to look like her. I want to be her. I think she's the coolest, happiest. She's my person. And I want you to know this girl is not someone who cares about celebrity. She's cool. She's beautiful. She's fashionable. She's all the things. And she doesn't even have Instagram. And you were like her person. So I want you to know that I know that you have the middle child. I'm the awkward. I'm the whatever and whatever. But like, I just want you to know you're her person.
I love her. I mean, we could be long stockings together forever. Sounds like a plan to me.
You're also my person. I love you.
You are my person, Rach. Thank you
for
having me, and I love you endlessly.
A huge thank you to the sweetest, most beautiful, best ever, huge-hearted Poppy Delevingne for coming on the pod, and thank you all for listening to Climbing in Heels. I'm so excited for all that Poppy is about to do this next chapter, and you know, all that is to come for her and her beautiful family. And you know, I really loved how candid Poppy was. I really love keeping it very real on Climbing in Heels. I love talking about the sort of emotional effects of the different stages of our career journeys. I also like to point out things that are assumed about people that I don't think is necessarily always fair to judge, especially people you don't know. And you know, Poppy has clearly put in the work, and she's dealt with a lot of rejection. She's done the grit. And, you know, and she's not afraid of starting over, and she's not afraid of adventure, and she's not afraid to, you know, close her eyes and jump and really just start over again. And I think that takes a lot because that's not something I love to do. I really don't. I like to go forward. Going back to me is always more challenging. But as always, don't forget to write a review wherever you get your podcasts. I love reading them. And while you're at it, follow me on @RachelZo and @ClimbingInHeelsPod on Instagram for more updates and upcoming guests, episodes, and I will see you next week. Mwah.
Hey, come on in.
Small Business Saturday is right around the corner. And so is that shop you've been meaning to check out. On November 30th, support your local community by shopping small on Small Business Saturday, founded by American Express. Pick up a new outfit, a handmade gift, some vintage vinyl, maybe even some local tea.
Thanks so much. See you soon.
Shop on Small Business Saturday, November 30th. That's the powerful backing of American Express.
For many of us, the holiday season means more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more of your personal information in more places you can't control. It only takes one innocent mistake, even if it's not your mistake, to expose you to identity theft. Not to worry, LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second and alerts you to threats you could miss by yourself, even if you keep an eye on your bank and credit card statements. If your identity is stolen, your own U.S.-based restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed. The last thing you want to do this holiday season is face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or other financial losses from identity theft all alone. Gift yourself the peace of mind that comes with LifeLock and spend more time doing more of the holiday things you love. Visit lifelock.com/iHeart and save up to 40% your first year. That's 40% off at lifelock.com/iHeart. LifeLock, for the threats you can't control.
Wake up at Holiday Inn Express to a can't-miss breakfast that's free with every stay. Count on all the hot, fresh coffee you need and an incredible breakfast buffet that has something for everyone, like eggs, cinnamon rolls, and even hot, fresh pancakes with all the toppings you crave. Next time, do yourself a favor and stay at a Holiday Inn Express with a can't-miss breakfast that's free with every stay. So, when you wake up at Holiday Inn Express, you'll wake up happy, a part of IHG Hotels and Resorts.
This is Dr. Laurie Santos from the Happiness Lab. Many people have questions about how to improve levels of happiness. Living a healthy lifestyle is one sure way of increasing happiness. And a good place to start is with your oral health. Just a few small changes to your oral care routine, such as changing your toothpaste to Colgate Total, can lead to beneficial changes in your oral health. Colgate Total helps stop oral health problems like gingivitis and cavities before they start, because preventing oral health problems is a lot easier than treating them. Be dentist ready and get Colgate Total at shop.colgate.com/total.
When you choose to earn your degree online from Southern New Hampshire University, you're saying yes to new opportunities and to new adventures. You're saying yes to something big, something you've always wanted to do. If earning your degree is one of your goals this new year, SNHU can help you get there. With low online tuition, no set class times, and multiple term starts per year, you can set the pace that works for you and save money along the way. Visit snhu.edu today to get started.